Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 9, Text 7. Ekastvam Ebha Bhagavan Idham Atma Shaktya Mayakyayor Gunaya Mahad Adya Shesham Srisvanuvisya Purushasthad Asarguneshu Nanheva Darushu Vibhavasu Vadibasi. My Lord, you are the Supreme One, but your different energies appear differently in the spiritual and material worlds. By your different energies, you appear differently in the spiritual and material worlds. You create the total energy of the material world by your external potency, and after creation, you enter within the material world as the Supersoul. You are the Supreme Person, and through the temporary modes of material nature, you create varieties of manifestations, just as fire entering into wood of different shapes burns brilliantly in different varieties. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj realized that the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead, acts through his different energies, not that he becomes void or impersonal and thus becomes all-pervading. The Mayavadi philosophers think that the Absolute Truth, being spread throughout the cosmic manifestation, has no personal form. But here, Dhruva Maharaj, upon realization of the Vedic conclusion, says you are spread all over the cosmic manifestation by your energy. This energy is basically spiritual, but because it acts in the material world temporarily, it is called Maya, or illusory energy. In other words, for everyone but the devotees, the Lord's energy acts as external energy. Dhruva Maharaj could understand this fact very nicely, and he could understand also that the energy and the energetic are one and the same. The energy cannot be separated from the energetic. The identity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the feature of Paramatma, or Supersoul, is admitted herein. His original spiritual energy enlivens the material energy, and thus the dead body appears to have life force. Voidist philosophers think that under certain material conditions, the symptoms of life occur in the material body. But the fact is that the material body cannot act on its own. Even a machine needs separate energy, electricity, steam, etc. It is said in this verse that the material energy acts in varieties of material bodies, just as fire burns differently in different wood according to the size and quality of the wood. In the case of the devotees, the same energy is transformed into spiritual energy. This is possible because the energy is originally spiritual, not material. As it is said, Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta. The original energy inspires a devotee, and thus he engages all his bodily limbs in the service of the Lord. The same energy, as external potency, engages the ordinary non-devotees in the material activities for sense enjoyment. We should mark the difference between Maya and Svadharma, between Maya and Svadharma. For the devotees, the Svadharma acts, whereas in the case of the non-devotees, the Maya energy acts. Text 8. Svadhataya vayuna yedam achasta vishvam shukta prabudha ivanata bhavatrapana tasya pabhargya sharanam tabhapadamulam vishmaryate krita vidha katam marta bando. O my master, Lord Brahma is fully surrendered unto you. In the beginning you gave him knowledge, and thus he could see and understand the entire universe, just as a person awakens from sleep and visualizes his immediate duties. You are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How, therefore, can a learned person who has perfect knowledge ever forget you? Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be forgotten even for a moment by his surrendered devotees. The devotee understands that the Lord's causeless mercy is beyond his estimation. He cannot know how much he is benefited by the grace of the Lord. The more a devotee engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, the more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that those who are constantly engaged in devotional service with love and affection, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives intelligence from within, and thus they make further progress. Being so encouraged, the devotee can never forget at any moment the personality of Godhead. He always feels obliged to him for having achieved increased power in devotional service by his grace. Saintly persons like Sanakana, Sanaka, Sanatana, and Lord Brahma were able to see the entire universe by the mercy of the Lord, through knowledge of the Lord. The example is given that a person may apparently abstain from sleep all day, but as long as he is not spiritually enlightened, he is actually sleeping. He may sleep at night and perform his duties in the daytime, but as long as he does not come to the platform of working in spiritual enlightenment, he is considered to be always sleeping. A devotee, therefore, never forgets the benefit derived from the Lord. The Lord is addressed here as Artha Bandhu, which means friend of the distressed. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, after many, many births of executing severe austerities in search of knowledge, one comes to the point of real knowledge and becomes wise when one surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mayavadi philosopher who does not surrender unto the Supreme Person is understood to be lacking in real knowledge. The devotee in perfect knowledge cannot forget this obligation to the Lord at any moment. Text 9. Nunam vimushtamatya matayasthavāmayāyate yitvam bhavāpyaya vimokshanam anyāheto archanti kalpakatarum kunha papo bhogyam ichanti yatsparshajam nirhayepi nirnam. Persons who worship you simply for sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desire tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons, such as me, desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. Here he condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit or for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord. But people in general do not know what kind of benediction they should ask from him. Happiness derived from the touch of skin or sensuous happiness is present in the life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge. Text 10. Yanivritis tanubratam tavha padha padma yanad bhavaj jana kata shravhanina yavat vasyat sabrahmani svamahimhanyapi nathamabut kim tvantakashi lulitat patatam vimanat. My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmanda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmanda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, Then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by the separating sword of time? Although one may be elevated to heavenly planets, he falls down in due course of time. Purport. The transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, primarily from Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing and chanting, cannot be compared to the happiness derived by karmis by elevating themselves to the heavenly planets, or by jnanis um, or yogis who enjoy a oneness with the supreme impersonal Brahman. Yogis generally meditate upon the transcendental form of Vishnu, but devotees not only meditate upon him, but actually engage in the direct service of the Lord. In the previous verse, we find the phrase bhavapyaya, which refers to birth and death. The Lord can give relief from the chain of birth and death. It is a misunderstanding to think, as do the monists, that when one gets relief from the process of birth and death, he merges into the Supreme Brahman. Here it is clearly said that the transcendental bliss derived from Shravanam Kirtanam by pure devotees cannot be compared to Brahmanda, or the impersonal conception of transcendental bliss derived by merging into the Absolute. The position of karmis is still more degraded. Their aim is to elevate themselves to the higher planetary systems. It is said, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Persons who worship as demigods are elevated to the heavenly planets, Bhagavad Gita 9.25. But elsewhere, in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, we find Shinhe Punye Martya Lokam, Vishanti. Those who are elevated to the higher planetary systems must come down again as soon as the results of their pious activities are exhausted. They are like the modern astronauts who go to the moon. As soon as their fuel is used up, they are obliged to come back down to this earth. As the modern astronauts who go to the moon or other heavenly planets by force of jet propulsion have to come down again after exhausting their fuel, so also do those who are elevated to heavenly planets by force of yajnas and pious activities. Antakasi lulitat. By the sword of time, one is cut from his exalted position within this material world, and he comes down again. Dhruva Maharaj appreciated that the results of devotional service are far more valuable than merging into the Absolute, or being elevated to the heavenly planets. The words Patatam Vimanat are very significant. Vimana means airplane. Those who are elevated to the heavenly planets are like airplanes which drop when they run out of fuel. Text 11. Bhaktim muhu prabhahatam tvayi me prashango uyadananta mahatam amhala shayanam inhanjaso labhanam urubhyasanam bhavadim nisye bhavad guna katam rata panamata. Dhruva Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the Nescian ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes which are eternally existent. Purport. The significant point in Dhruva Maharaj's statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and cannot be relishable without the association of devotees. We have therefore established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Consciousness society and yet engage in Krishna consciousness is living a great hallucination, for this is not possible. From this statement by Dhruva Maharaj, it is clear that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. It does not become distinct from material activities. The Lord says, Satam Prashangan Mama Virya Samvido Bhavananti Hritkarna Rashayana. Bhagavatam 3.25.25. Only in the association of pure devotees can the words of Lord Krishna be fully potent and relishable to the heart and ear. Dhruva Maharaja explicitly wanted the association of devotees. That association in devotional activities is just like the waves of an incessantly flowing river. In our Krishna consciousness society, we have full engagement 24 hours a day. Every moment of our time is always busily engaged in the service of the Lord. This is called the incessant flow of devotional service. A Mayavadi philosopher may question us. You may be very happy in the association of devotees, but what is your plan for crossing the ocean of material existence? Dhruva Maharaja's answer is that it is not very difficult. He clearly says that this ocean can be crossed very easily if one simply becomes mad to hear the glories of the Lord. Bhavat Guna Kata. For anyone who persistently engages in hearing the topics of the Lord from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and who is actually addicted to this process, just as one becomes addicted to intoxicants, it is very easy to cross the nescience of material existence. The ocean of material nescience is compared to a blazing fire, but to a devotee, this blazing fire is insignificant because he is completely absorbed in devotional service. Although the material world is blazing fire, to a devotee it appears full of pleasure. Vishvam Purna Shukayate. The purport of this statement by Dhruva Maharaj is that devotional service and the association of devotees is the cause of the development of further devotional service. By devotional service only is one elevated to the transcendental planet Goloka Vrindavan, and there is only devotional service for the activities of devotional service both in this world and in the spiritual world. By devotional service only is one elevated to the transcendental planet Goloka Vrindavan, and there is only devotional service. For the activities of devotional service, both in this world and in the spiritual world, are one and the same. Devotional service does not change. The example of a mango can be given here. If one gets an unripe mango, it is still a mango, and when it is ripe, it remains the same mango, but it has become more tasteful and relishable. Similarly, there is devotional service performed according to the direction of the spiritual master and the injunctions and regulative principles of Shastra, and there is devotional service in the spiritual world, rendered directly in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they are both the same. There is no change. The difference is that one stage is unripe and the other is ripe and more relishable. It is possible to mature in devotional service only in the association of devotees. And thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 12 on Friday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Yeah.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Nrsimhapali Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Gangamai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Radhakund Ki Jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Sripadananda Krishna Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai Sripad Keshava Krishna Keshava Prabhu Ki Jai.
There it is. Dhanavad pranams, Prabhuji.
Next Friday, Prabhu.
Yes, Friday, this Friday, couple days.
Very good.
Srila Shanta Maharaj is going to Jagannath Puri now for Ratha Yatra. I think he is going there today.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Big festival, no?
Yes, very big.
In Brazil, and 14, 14 July, in
Ah,
the city São Paulo, and events and ISKCON.
they're having a Ratha Yatra in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.